Misti Green, and this is the I Lead Misty Blue podcast, where strategy meets soul and faith finds its voice. If you've been following this journey, you know this is part of the ongoing conversation about accepting versus understanding and learning how to move from suspended to settled. We've walked with Jesus through nevertheless, where surrender became strength. We've stood with David in anointed, then appointed, where waiting became worship. And now we meet Elijah. You ever reach a point where you're just tired? Not the kind of tired that sleep can fix, the kind that comes from carrying far too much for far too long. You did the right things, you stood in faith, you kept showing up, and still it feels like the flame's gone out. You don't even recognize the version of you that used to burn so bright. That's where Elijah found himself, not on the mountain calling down fire, but in a cave, whispering to God, "I've had enough." This episode is called Elijah in the Cave, when the fire goes out, because even prophets get tired, even world changers hit walls, and sometimes the greatest miracle isn't in the fire, it's in the whisper that follows. Pull up a chair, the table is set. In 1 Kings 18, Elijah stands on Mount Carmel and calls down fire from heaven, literal fire. God shows up publicly, dramatically, undeniably. Victory, vindication, revival on the horizon. And the very next chapter, fear, threat, collapse. He runs into the wilderness, sits under a broom tree, and prays, "I've had enough, Lord." How do you go from fire to fatigue that fast? It happens when expectations meet exhaustion, when your assignment starts to feel like your identity, when I'm faithful slowly becomes I have to keep fixing everything. That's burnout in the language of faith. Notice what God doesn't do. He doesn't scold Elijah for being tired. He sends an angel, and the angel doesn't preach a sermon. He cooks a meal. Get up and eat, for the journey is too much for you. See, that's grace. Before God gives new instructions, he gives permission to rest. Sometimes you don't need revelation, you need recovery. You can't pour from a burned out vessel. You can't call down fire on an empty heart. Carry this. Rest is not retreat. Rest is repair. After resting, Elijah still runs deeper into the wilderness, into a cave. That cave wasn't punishment, it was protection. Caves are where God hides you to heal you. No audience, no applause, no assignment, just you, your thoughts, and the God who refuses to leave you in pieces. When the fire goes out, the cave becomes the classroom. That's where you learn God's presence isn't proven by performance, it's proven by peace. Here are the real life mirrors. The educator who held up a campus for 3 years and now cries in her car between periods. The caregiver who keeps saying, "I'm fine," until the room is quiet. The leader whose wins look big online, but whose soul feels small at home. If that's you, the cave is not your failure, it's your fixing place. God says, "Go stand on the mountain in my presence." A mighty wind tears rocks apart, but the Lord is not in the wind. An earthquake rattles the ground. He's not in the quake. A fire blazes. He's not in the fire. Then a gentle whisper. And Elijah recovers his face. He recognizes the voice. God didn't return with spectacle. He came with stillness, not to prove his power, but to restore Elijah's peace. We keep looking for God in fireworks, but he keeps meeting us in a whisper. Carry this with you. Suspension needs a sign. Settlement, trust the silence. Before the whisper, there was a nap and a meal. Between the whisper and the recommission, there is more strength. God tends to you like a good parent, bite by bite, breath by breath, stroke by stroke. If you need a checklist you can actually do today, sleep on purpose. Set a bedtime like it's an appointment with your future self. Eat like you're rebuilding. protein, water, something green, simple fuel, steady fire, one small joy daily. Sunlight on your face, a slow walk, your favorite song without multitasking, your favorite movie on repeat. 5 quiet minutes, no phone. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Tell your body we're safe, we're resting. One quote unquote no this week. Create capacity. Peace needs room. It is safe to say no. This is not laziness, this is stewardship. The whisper teaches 3 big truths. Number 1, God centers you before he sends you. Power excites, but presence sustains. Stillness reveals what striving hides. The noise made you effective. The quiet, makes you whole. You're not finished, you're being refitted. God isn't discarding you, he's resizing the yoke to your shoulders. And sometimes settlement isn't a new assignment, it's a new way to carry the same one. Baby, I'm living there. When Elijah steps to the mouth of the cave, God doesn't shame him for running. He gives him next steps. Go back the way you came. Anoint, appoint. Translation, you're not done. You're just different now. The work didn't change, but Elijah did. Carry this with you. This whisper healed what the fire couldn't. If your fire feels dim, it doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've felt. It doesn't mean you've lost your calling. It means God is lightening you to carry it. It doesn't mean God is absent. It means he's closer than the noise. Rest isn't retreat. Silence isn't absence. And stillness isn't stagnation. God's reminding you your worth isn't what you produce. It's in who you are. Then there's nothing left to prove. I'm going to say it again because I need to hear it again. God is reminding you and me that our worth isn't in what we produce. It's in who we are when there's nothing left to prove. If your fire feels dim, if you're teaching, parenting, leading, loving on low battery, don't panic. Micro Sabbaths are essential. Take 15 minutes of screen-free stillness twice a day. Give yourself permission slips. Write 1. Today I don't have to fix it. I simply have to be faithful. Remember, people of peace. Text 1 safe person. Check on me Thursday. Be mindful of paced purpose. Choose impact over image and quiet fruit over loud flames. And remember prayer as breathing. Inhale, Lord Jesus. Exhale, have mercy on me. Your worth isn't in what you produce. It is who holds you when you can't. Elijah exits the cave with no thunder, no spotlight, just peace. Nothing outside changed at first, but he did. When your fire burns out, it isn't always failure. Sometimes it's an invitation to let the whisper become your new wildfire. Mantra to repeat: I don't need to burn to belong. I need to be still to be sent. Elijah walked out of that cave without thunder or spotlight, just peace. He moved from exhausted to empowered, not because the world changed, but because something within him did. When your fire burns out, it's not always failure. Sometimes it's an invitation to glow quietly, to let the whisper become your new wildfire. If you're in your cave season, if you've lost your spark, if you're tired of being strong, hear me. The God who sent fire on the mountain is the same God who whispers in the dark. The quiet isn't punishment, it's proof he trusts you enough to teach you in stillness. I'm Misti Green, and this is the I Lead Misti Blue podcast. Pull up the chair. The table is set for grace, for rest, and for the kind of peace that whispers louder than the fire ever did.